The facts in the case of M. Valdemar. Of course, I shall not pretend to consider it any matter for wonder that the extraordinary case of M. Valdemar has excited discussion. It would have been a miracle had it not, especially under the circumstances. Through the desire of all parties concerned to keep the affair from the public, at least for the present, or until we had further opportunities for investigation, through our endeavours to effect this, a garbled or exaggerated account made its way into society and became the source of many unpleasant misrepresentations, and very naturally of a great deal of disbelief. It is now rendered necessary that I give the facts, as far as I comprehend them myself. They are succinctly these. My attention for the last 3 years had been repeatedly drawn to the subject of mesmerism, and about 9 months ago it occurred to me quite suddenly that in the series of experiments made hitherto, there had been a very remarkable and most unaccountable omission. No person had as yet been mesmerized in articulo mortis. It remained to be seen, first, whether in such condition there existed in the patient any susceptibility to the magnetic influence. Secondly, whether, if any existed, it was impaired or increased by the condition. Thirdly, to what extent or for how long a period the encroachments of death might be arrested by the process. There were other points to be ascertained, but these most excited my curiosity, the last in especial, from the immensely important character of its consequences. In looking around me for some subject by whose means I might test these particulars, I was brought to think of my friend M. Ernest Valdemar, the well-known compiler of the Bibliotheca Forensica, and author, under the nom de plume of Issachar Marx, of the Polish versions of Wallenstein and Gargantua. M. Valdemar, who has resided principally at Harlem, New York, since the year 1839, is, or was, particularly noticeable for the extreme spareness of his person, his lower limbs much resembling those of John Randolph, and also for the whiteness of his whiskers, in violent contrast to the blackness of his hair, the latter, in consequence, being very generally mistaken for a wig. His temperament was markedly nervous, and rendered him a good subject for mesmeric experiment. On 2 or 3 occasions I had put him to sleep with little difficulty, but was disappointed in other results which his peculiar constitution had naturally led me to anticipate. His will was at no period positively or thoroughly under my control, and in regard to clairvoyance I could accomplish with him nothing to be relied upon. I always attributed my failure at these points to the disordered state of his health. For some months previous to my becoming acquainted with him, his physicians had declared him in a confirmed thesis. It was his custom, indeed, to speak calmly of his approaching dissolution, as of a matter neither to be avoided nor regretted. When the ideas to which I have alluded first occurred to me, it was of course very natural that I should think of M. Valdemar. I knew the steady philosophy of the man too well to apprehend any scruples from him, and he had no relatives in America who would be likely to interfere. I spoke to him frankly upon the subject, and to my surprise his interest seemed vividly excited. I say to my surprise, for although he had always yielded his person freely to my experiments, he had never before given me any tokens of sympathy with what I did. His disease was of that character which would admit of exact calculation in respect to the epoch of its termination in death, and it was finally arranged between us that he would send for me about 24 hours before the period announced by his physicians as that of his decease. It is now rather more than 7 months since I received, from M. Valdemar himself, the subjoined note. My dear P., you may as well come now. D and F are agreed that I cannot hold out beyond tomorrow midnight, and I think they have hit the time very nearly. Valdemar. I received this note within half an hour after it was written, and in 15 minutes more, I was in the dying man's chamber. I had not seen him for 10 days, and was appalled by the fearful alteration which the brief interval had wrought in him. His face wore a leaden hue, the eyes were utterly lustreless, and the emaciation was so extreme that the skin had been broken through by the cheekbones. His expectoration was excessive, the pulse was barely perceptible. He retained, nevertheless, in a very remarkable manner, both his mental power and a certain degree of physical strength. He spoke with distinctness, took some palliative medicines without aid, and when I entered the room, was occupied in penciling memoranda in a pocket-book. He was propped up in the bed by pillows. Doctors D and F were in attendance. After pressing Valdemar's hand, I took these gentlemen aside and obtained from them a minute account of the patient's condition. The left lung had been for 18 months in a semi-osseous or cartilaginous state, and was of course entirely useless for all purposes of vitality. The right, in its upper portion, was also partially, if not thoroughly, ossified, while the lower region was merely a mass of purulent tubercles running one into another. Several extensive perforations existed, and at one point permanent adhesion to the ribs had taken place. These appearances in the right lobe were of comparatively recent date. The ossification had proceeded with very unusual rapidity. No sign of it had been discovered a month before, and the adhesion had only been observed during the 3 previous days. Independently of the thesis, the patient was suspected of aneurysm of the aorta, but on this point the osseous symptoms rendered an exact diagnosis impossible. It was the opinion of both physicians that M. Valdemar would die about midnight on the morrow, Sunday. It was then 7 o'clock on Saturday evening. On quitting the invalid's bedside to hold conversation with myself, Doctors D and F had bidden him a final farewell. It had not been their intention to return, but at my request they agreed to look in upon the patient about 10 the next night. When they had gone, I spoke freely with M. Valdemar on the subject of his approaching dissolution, as well as more particularly of the experiment proposed. He still professed himself quite willing and even anxious to have it made, and urged me to commence it at once. A male and female nurse were in attendance, but I did not feel myself altogether at liberty to engage in a task of this character, with no more reliable witnesses than these people, in case of sudden accident, might prove. I therefore postponed operations until about 8 the next night, when the arrival of a medical student with whom I had some acquaintance, Mr. Theodore L., relieved me from further embarrassment. It had been my design, originally, to wait for the physicians, but I was induced to proceed first by the urgent entreaties of M. Valdemar, and secondly by my conviction that I had not a moment to lose, as he was evidently sinking fast. Mr. L. was so kind as to accede to my desire that he would take notes of all that occurred, and it is from his memoranda that what I have now to relate is for the most part either condensed or copied verbatim. It wanted about 5 minutes of 8 when, taking the patient's hand, I begged him to state as distinctly as he could to Mr. L. whether he, M. Valdemar, was entirely willing that I should make the experiment of mesmerizing him in his then condition. He replied, feebly yet quite audibly, "Yes, I wish to be mesmerized," adding immediately afterwards, "I fear you have deferred it too long." While he spoke thus, I commenced the passes which I had already found most effectual in subduing him. He was evidently influenced with the first lateral stroke of my hand across his forehead, but although I exerted all my powers, no further perceptible effect was induced until some minutes after 10 o'clock, when Doctors D and F called, according to appointment. I explained to them in a few words what I designed, and as they opposed no objection, saying that the patient was already in the death agony, I proceeded without hesitation, exchanging, however, the lateral passes for downward ones, and directing my gaze entirely into the right eye of the sufferer. By this time, his pulse was imperceptible, and his breathing was stertorous, and at intervals of half a minute. This condition was nearly unaltered for a quarter of an hour. At the expiration of this period, however, a natural, although a very deep sigh escaped the bosom of the dying man, and the stertorous breathing ceased. That is to say, its stertorousness was no longer apparent. The intervals were undiminished. The patient's extremities were of an icy coldness. At 5 minutes before 11, I perceived unequivocal signs of the mesmeric influence. The glassy roll of the eye was changed for that expression of uneasy, inward examination, which is never seen except in cases of sleep-waking, and which it is quite impossible to mistake. With a few rapid lateral passes, I made the lids quiver as in incipient sleep, and with a few more I closed them altogether. I was not satisfied, however, with this, but continued the manipulations vigorously, and with the fullest exertion of the will, until I had completely stiffened the limbs of the slumberer, after placing them in a seemingly easy position. The legs were at full length, the arms were nearly so, and reposed on the bed at a moderate distance from the loins. The head was very slightly elevated. When I had accomplished this, it was fully midnight, and I requested the gentlemen present to examine M. Valdemar's condition. After a few experiments, they admitted him to be in an unusually perfect state of mesmeric trance. The curiosity of both the physicians was greatly excited. Dr. D resolved at once to remain with the patient all night, while Dr. F took leave with a promise to return at daybreak. Mr. L and the nurses remained. We left M. Valdemar entirely undisturbed until about 3 o'clock in the morning, when I approached him and found him in precisely the same condition as when Dr. F went away. That is to say, he lay in the same position. The pulse was imperceptible. The breathing was gentle, scarcely noticeable unless through the application of a mirror to the lips. The eyes were closed naturally, and the limbs were as rigid and as cold as marble. Still, the general appearance was certainly not that of death. As I approached M. Valdemar, I made a kind of half-effort to influence his right arm into pursuit of my own, as I passed the latter gently to and fro above his person. In such experiments with this patient I had never perfectly succeeded before, and assuredly I had little thought of succeeding now. But to my astonishment, his arm very readily, although feebly, followed every direction I assigned it with mine. I determined to hazard a few words of conversation. "M. Valdemar," I said, "are you asleep?" He made no answer, but I perceived a tremor about the lips, and was thus induced to repeat the question again and again. At its third repetition, his whole frame was agitated by a very slight shivering. The eyelids unclosed themselves so far as to display a white line of a ball. The lips moved sluggishly, and from between them, in a barely audible whisper, issued the words, "Yes, asleep now. Do not wake me. Let me die so." I here felt the limbs and found them as rigid as ever. The right arm, as before, obeyed the direction of my hand. I questioned the sleepwalker again. "Do you still feel pain in the breast, M. Valdemar?" The answer now was immediate, but even less audible than before. "No pain. I am dying." I did not think it advisable to disturb him further just then, and nothing more was said or done until the arrival of Dr. F, who came a little before sunrise, and expressed unbounded astonishment at finding the patient still alive. After feeling the pulse and applying a mirror to the lips, he requested me to speak to the sleep-waker again. I did so, saying, "M. Valdemar, do you still sleep?" As before, some minutes elapsed ere a reply was made, and during the interval the dying man seemed to be collecting his energies to speak. At my fourth repetition of the question, he said, very faintly, almost inaudibly, "Yes, still asleep, dying." It was now the opinion, or rather the wish, of the physicians that M. Valdemar should be suffered to remain undisturbed in his present apparently tranquil condition until death should supervene, and this, it was generally agreed, must now take place within a few minutes. I concluded, however, to speak to him once more, and merely repeated my previous question. While I spoke, there came a marked change over the countenance of the sleepwaker. The eyes rolled themselves slowly open, the pupils disappearing upwardly. The skin generally assumed a cadaverous hue, resembling not so much parchment as white paper, and the circular hectic spots which hitherto had been strongly defined in the centre of each cheek went out at once. I use this expression because the suddenness of their departure put me in mind of nothing so much as the extinguishment of a candle by a puff of the breath. The upper lip at the same time writhed itself away from the teeth which it had previously covered completely, while the lower jaw fell with an audible jerk, leaving the mouth widely extended and disclosing in full view the swollen and blackened tongue. I presume that no member of the party then present had been unaccustomed to deathbed horrors, but so hideous beyond conception was the appearance of M. Valdemar at this moment that there was a general shrinking back from the region of the bed. I now feel that I have reached the point of this narrative at which every reader will be startled into positive disbelief. It is my business, however, simply to proceed. There was no longer the faintest sign of vitality in M. Valdemar, and concluding him to be dead, we were consigning him to the charge of the nurses when a strong vibratory motion was observable in the tongue. This continued for perhaps a minute. At the expiration of this period there issued from the distended and motionless jaws a voice, such as it would be madness in me to attempt describing. There are indeed 2 or 3 epithets which might be considered as applicable to it in part. I might say, for example, that the sound was harsh and broken and hollow. but the hideous whole is indescribable, for the simple reason that no similar sounds have ever jarred upon the ear of humanity. There were two particulars, nevertheless, which I thought then, and still think, might fairly be stated as characteristic of the intonation, as well adapted to convey some idea of its unearthly peculiarity. In the first place, the voice seemed to reach our ears, at least mine, from a vast distance, or from some deep cavern within the earth. In the second place, it impressed me, I fear indeed that it will be impossible to make myself comprehended, as gelatinous or glutinous matters impress the sense of touch. I have spoken both of sound and of voice. I mean to say that the sound was one of distinct, of even wonderfully, thrillingly distinct syllabification. M. Valdemar spoke, obviously in reply to the question I had propounded to him a few minutes before. I had asked him, it will be remembered, if he still slept. He now said,
"Yes, no, I have been sleeping, and now, I am dead."
No person present even affected to deny or attempted to repress the unutterable, shuddering horror which these few words thus uttered were so well calculated to convey. Mr. L., the student, swooned. The nurses immediately left the chamber and could not be induced to return. My own impressions I would not pretend to render intelligible to the reader. For nearly an hour we busied ourselves silently, without the utterance of a word, in endeavours to revive Mr. L. When he came to himself, we addressed ourselves again to an investigation of M. Valdemar's condition. It remained in all respects as I have last described it, with the exception that the mirror no longer afforded evidence of respiration. An attempt to draw blood from the arm failed. I should mention, too, that this limb was no further subject to my will. I endeavoured in vain to make it follow the direction of my hand. The only real indication, indeed, of the mesmeric influence was now found in the vibratory movement of the tongue whenever I addressed M. Valdemar a question. He seemed to be making an effort to reply, but had no longer sufficient volition. To queries put to him by any other person than myself, he seemed utterly insensible, although I endeavoured to place each member of the company in mesmeric rapport with him. I believe that I have now related all that is necessary to an understanding of the sleepwaker's state at this epoch. Other nurses were procured, and at 10 o'clock I left the house in company with the two physicians and Mr. L. In the afternoon we all called again to see the patient. His condition remained precisely the same. We had now some discussion as to the propriety and feasibility of awakening him, but we had little difficulty in agreeing that no good purpose would be served by doing so. It was evident that, so far, death, or what is usually termed death, had been arrested by the mesmeric process. It seemed clear to us all that to awaken M. Valdemar would be merely to ensure his instant, or at least his speedy, dissolution. From this period until the close of last week, an interval of nearly 7 months, we continued to make daily calls at M. Valdemar's house, accompanied now and then by medical and other friends. All this time the sleepwaker remained exactly as I have last described him. The nurse's attentions were continual. It was on Friday last that we finally resolved to make the experiment of awakening, or attempting to awaken him, and it is the perhaps unfortunate result of this latter experiment which has given rise to so much discussion in private circles, to so much of what I cannot help thinking unwarranted popular feeling. For the purpose of relieving M. Valdemar from the mesmeric trance, I made use of the customary passes. These, for a time, were unsuccessful. The first indication of revival was afforded by a partial descent of the iris. It was observed as especially remarkable that this lowering of the pupil was accompanied by the profuse outflowing of a yellowish ichor from beneath the lids, of a pungent and highly offensive odour. It was now suggested that I should attempt to influence the patient's arm as heretofore. I made the attempt and failed. Dr. F. then intimated a desire to have me put a question. I did so, as follows. M. Valdemar, can you explain to us what are your feelings or wishes now? There was an instant return of the hectic circles on the cheeks. The tongue quivered, or rather rolled violently in the mouth, although the jaws and lips remained rigid as before, and at length the same hideous voice which I have already described broke forth.
"For God's sake, quick, put me to sleep, or quick, waken me, quick, I say to you that I am dead."
I was thoroughly unnerved and for an instant remained undecided what to do. At first I made an endeavour to recompose the patient, but failing in this through total abeyance of the will, I retraced my steps and as earnestly struggled to awaken him. In this attempt I soon saw that I should be successful, or at least I soon fancied that my success would be complete, and I am sure that all in the room were prepared to see the patient awaken. For what really occurred, however, it is quite impossible that any human being could have been prepared. As I rapidly made the mesmeric passes, I made ejaculations of, "Dead! Dead!" absolutely bursting from the tongue, and not from the lips of the sufferer, his whole frame at once, within the space of a single minute or even less, shrunk, crumbled, absolutely rotted away beneath my hands. Upon the bed, before that whole company, there lay a nearly liquid mass of loathsome, of detestable putridity.
Nelson Armstead brings you the world's greatest short stories. In the world of good literature, there are stories which all of us have promised ourselves we would read, or perhaps reread sometime. These stories, the world's greatest, are presented by Nelson Armstead, who brings you tonight one of Edgar Allan Poe's better-known narratives, entitled The Telltale Heart.
True, nervous, very, very dreadfully nervous, I had been an M. But why will you say that I am mad? The disease had sharpened my senses, not destroyed, not dulled them. And above all was a sense of hearing acute. I heard all things in the heaven and in the hell. Now then, am I mad? Hearken and observe how healthfully, how calmly I can tell you the whole story. It is impossible to say how first the idea entered my brain. But once conceived, it haunted me day and night. Object there was none, passion there was none. I loved the old man. He'd never wronged me. He'd never given me insult, and for his gold I had no desire. I think it was his eye. Yes, it was this. One of his eyes resembled that of a vulture, a pale blue eye with a film over it. Whenever it fell upon me, my blood ran cold. And so by degrees, very gradually, I made up my mind to take the life of the old man and thus rid myself of the eye forever. Now, this is the point. You fancy me mad. Well, madmen know nothing. But you should have seen me. You should have seen how wisely I proceeded, with what caution, with what foresight, with what dissimulation I went to work. I was never kinder to the old man than during the whole week before I killed him. And every night about midnight, I turned the latch of his door and opened it, oh, so gently. And then, when I'd made an opening sufficient for my head, I put in a dark lantern all closed, so that no light shone out. And then I thrust in my head. You would have laughed to see how cunningly I thrust it in. I moved it slowly, very, very slowly, so that I might not disturb the old man's sleep. It took me an hour to place my whole head within the opening so far that I could see him as he lay upon the bed. Would a madman have been so wise as this? And then, when my head was well in the room, I undid the lantern cautiously, oh, so cautiously, for the hinges creaked. I undid it just so much that a single thin ray fell upon the vulture eye. And this I did for 7 long nights, every night just at midnight. But I found the eye always closed. And so it was impossible to do the work. For it was not the old man who vexed me, but his evil eye. And every morning when the day broke, I went boldly into the chamber and spoke courageously to him, calling him by name in a hearty tone and inquiring how he'd passed the night. So you see, He would have been a very profound old man indeed to suspect that every night just at midnight I looked in upon him while he slept. Upon the 8th night, I was more than usually cautious in opening the door. A watch's minute hand moves more quickly than did mine. Never before that night had I felt the extent of my own powers, of my sagacity. I could scarcely contain my feelings of triumph to think that there I was, opening the door little by little, and he not even to dream of my secret deeds or thoughts. I fairly chuckled at the idea, and perhaps he heard me, for he moved in the bed suddenly as if startled. Now, you may think that I drew back, but no. His room was as black as pitch with a thick darkness, for the shutters were close fastened through fear of robbers. And so I knew that he could not see the opening of the door, and I kept pushing it on steadily. I had my head in and was about to open the lantern when my thumb slipped from the tin fastening. The old man sprang up in bed crying out, "Who's there?" I kept quite still and said nothing. For a whole hour I did not move a muscle, and in the meantime I did not hear him lie down. He was still sitting up in bed listening, just as I have done night after night, hearkening to the death watches in the wall. Presently I heard a slight groan, but I knew it was the groan of mortal terror. It was not a groan of pain or of grief, oh no. It was a low, stifled sound that arises from the bottom of the soul when overcharged with awe. I knew the sound well. Many a night just at midnight, when the world slept, it had welled up from my own bosom, deepening with its dreadful echo the terrors that had distracted me. I say I knew it well. I knew what the old man felt, and pitied him, although I chuckled at heart. I knew that he'd been lying awake ever since the first slight noise when he turned in bed, and his fears had ever since been growing upon him, and he'd been trying to fancy them causeless but could not. When I'd waited a long time very patiently without hearing him lie down, I resolved to open a very, very little crevice in the lantern. So I opened it. You cannot imagine how stealthily, until at length a single dim ray, like the thread of a spider, shot out from the crevice, full upon the vulture eye. It was open, wide open, and I grew furious as I gazed upon it. I saw it with perfect distinctness, all a dull blue with a hideous veil over it that chilled the very marrow in my bones. But I could see nothing else of the old man's face or person, for I had directed the ray as if by instinct precisely upon the damned spot. And now, have I not told you that what you mistake for madness is but over-acuteness of the senses? Now I say, there came to my ears a low, dull, quick sound, such as a watch makes when enveloped in cotton. I knew that sound well, too. It was the beating of the old man's heart. It increased my fury, as the beating of a drum stimulates a soldier into courage. But even yet I refrained and kept still. I scarcely breathed. I held the lantern motionless. I tried how steadily I could maintain the ray upon the eye. Meantime, the hellish tattoo of the heart increased. It grew quicker and quicker and louder every instant. The old man's terror must have been extreme. It grew louder, I say, louder every moment. Do you mark me well? I've told you that I'm nervous, and so I am. And now, at the dead hour of the night, amid the dreadful silence of that old house, so strange a noise as this excited me to uncontrollable terror. Yet, for some minutes longer I refrained and stood still. But the beating grew louder. I thought the heart must burst, and now a new anxiety seized me. The sound would be heard by a neighbor. The old man's hour had come. With a loud yell, I threw open the lantern and leaped into the room. He shrieked once, only once. In an instant, I dragged him to the floor and pulled the heavy bed over him. Then I smiled gaily to find the deed so far done. But for many minutes, the heart beat on with a muffled sound. This, however, did not vex me. It would not be heard through the wall. And at length, it ceased. The old man was dead. I removed the bed and examined the corpse. Yes, he was stone dead. I placed my hand upon the heart and held it there many minutes. There was no pulsation. He was stone dead. His eye would trouble me no more. If you still think me mad, you will think so no longer when I describe the wise precautions I took for the concealment of the body. The night waned, and I worked hastily, but in silence. First of all, I dismembered the corpse. I cut off the head, and the arms and the legs. I then took up 3 planks from the flooring of the chamber and deposited all between the scantlings. I then replaced the board so cleverly and so cunningly that no human eye, not even his, could have detected anything wrong. There was nothing to wash out, no stain of any kind, no blood spot whatever. I'd been too wary for that. A tub had cut it all. And when I'd made an end of these labors, it was 4 o'clock, still dark as midnight. And as the bell sounded the hour, there came a knocking at the street door. I went down to open it with a light heart. For what had I now to fear? There entered 3 men who introduced themselves with perfect suavity as officers of the police. A shriek had been heard by a neighbor during the night. Suspicion of foul play had been aroused. And information had been lodged at the police office. And they, the officers, had been deputized to search the premises. I smiled. For what had I to fear? I bade the gentleman welcome. The shriek, I said, was my own in a dream. The old man I mentioned was absent in the country. I took my visitors all over the house. I had them search well. I led them at length to his chamber. I showed them his treasures, secure and undisturbed. And in the enthusiasm of my confidence, I brought chairs into the room and desired them here to rest from their fatigues, while I myself, in the wild audacity of my perfect triumph, placed my own seat upon the very spot beneath which reposed the corpse of the victim. The officers were satisfied. My manner had convinced them. I was singularly at ease. They sat, and while I answered cheerily, they chatted of familiar things. But ere long, I felt myself getting pale and wished them gone. My head ached, and I fancied a ringing in my ears. But still they sat, and still they chatted. The ringing became more distinct. It continued and became more distinct. I talked more freely to get rid of the feeling. But it continued and gained definitiveness, until at length I found that the noise was not within my ears. No doubt I grew very pale, but I talked more fluently and with a heightened voice. Yet the sound increased. And what could I do? It was the low, dull, quick sound, much such a sound as a watch makes when enveloped in cotton. I gasped for breath, and yet the officers heard it not. I talked more quickly, more vehemently, but the noise steadily increased. I arose and argued about trifles in a high key and with violent gesticulations, but the noise steadily increased. Why would they not be gone? I paced the floor to and fro with heavy strides, as if excited to fury by the observations of the men. But the noise steadily increased. Oh, God, what could I do? I foamed and I raved and I swore. I swung the chair upon which I'd been sitting and grated it upon the boards, but the noise arose above all and continually increased, grew louder, louder, louder. And still the men chatted pleasantly and smiled. Was it possible they heard not? Almighty God, no, they heard. They suspected, they knew. They were making a mockery of my horror. This I thought, and this I think. But anything was better than this agony. Anything was more tolerable than this derision. I could bear those hypocritical smiles no longer. I felt that I must scream or die. And now again, hark, louder, louder, louder. Villains, I shrieked. Dissemble no more. I admit the deed. Tear up the plank. Here is the beating of the hideous heart.
This has been the story of The Telltale Heart by Edgar Allen Poe, as reviewed by Nelson Olmsted, who now has a closing word.
When Edgar Allan Poe was a youngster, he wrote, "The world shall be my theater, and I must either conquer or die." And several weeks before his death, he wrote, "I do believe God gave me a spark of genius, but he quenched it in misery." Born 131 years ago in Boston, Poe represents one of the earliest founders of our modern short story. The Telltale Heart was first published in 1843 and forcibly represents the power that Poe could put into words. He was a mood writer. Words meant more to him than the plot. Words, he demonstrated, could express through their sound much more than they could through their meaning. It was a matter of using them in proper order or in particular alliteration. Now, tomorrow night at this time, we present a very familiar story by Alphonse Daudet entitled The Last Class. We hope you'll be tuned in, and until then, good night and good reading.
The CBS Radio Mystery Theater presents... Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. This week starts the second year of Mystery Theater, and it will be a week to remember. A week devoted to the world's master of mystery, horror, and the bizarre, Edgar Allen Poe. Each night this week, it will be my pleasure and honor to bring you one of Poe's masterpieces, our respectful tribute to the creative genius of a truly great author whose stories will live for all time. Help us celebrate the start of our second year of Mystery Theater by joining us every night this week in our salute to the world's acknowledged master of the macabre. Of all the fears that have plagued mankind, probably the most terrible was the possibility of being buried alive. Oh, don't shrink away. You have nothing to fear, modern medical science being what it is. But not so many years ago, the thought of waking up in one's closed coffin beneath 6 feet of earth, that was a horrible thought indeed. And an ever-present danger, which led, in at least one case, to a remarkably strange experiment.
Let me go. Oh, please let me go. I'm dead, I tell you. I'm dead.
Guy, I must release her.
No, Gordon, no. She's alive.
Only my spirit lives. My body has been dead for days.
Guy, I beg you, let me release her from the spell of mesmerism I cast over her.
Yes. Release me.
No. Victorine, no. Oh, no, my darling. If I let Gordon break his hold on you, you will be dead, and I can't face the horror of that.
Then a worse horror awaits you. Horror. Far worse.
Our mystery drama, The Premature Burial, was adapted from the Edgar Allan Poe classic, especially for the Mystery Theater, by George Lothar, and stars Keir DeLay. It is sponsored in part by Buick Motor Division and Sign-Off, the sinus medicines. I'll be back shortly with Act One. As you know, I'm an inveterate and incurable reader of diaries. The Paston letters, John Evelyn, Pepys, Boswell, young Pastor Kilvert. I've read them all, and many more besides. The daily journals, that is, of lesser-known folk. In so doing, I've happened upon some curious tales, but none, I assure you, that can match in sheer terror the one I bring you now. I happened upon it years ago in a small, out-of-the-way bookshop in London, England. It's the journal of a young doctor, Dr. Gordon Rainey, and it recounts certain events that took place in the year 1810. Now, let me see where to begin. Here. I arrived at the Bull and Bear Inn in Salisbury, the doctor writes, in one of the worst of storms,
And having stabled my horse and seen to its proper care, soon found myself in the rooms my friend Guy Peterson had engaged for himself. In all the years I'd known him, since undergraduate days at Cambridge, I'd never known this closest of my friends to be in such a state of overwrought nerves.
Thank God you come, Gordon. Thank God you're here at last, my friend.
I came as soon as I could after getting your message, but what is it? I've never seen you in such a state of nerves. Thank God, you're actually trembling.
She's dead. Dead, you see, and they buried her last week, but I must see her once again. Gaze on her face.
Now look at me.
What?
Look at me. Look full into my eyes.
What? Gordon, what are you doing?
I'm merely calming you down through the use of mesmerism.
Mesmerism? What in heaven's name is that? And why do you stare at me? As if I...
That's right, old friend, that's right. Calm down. Quiet yourself. Relax. Just loosen up. Let yourself go. That's it. That's it. There now. Feel better?
Why, yes. But how did you do it? What is this? Mesmerism, did you say?
Yes. A means of controlling another person by, well, to put it simplistically, dominating him with one's own will, the force of one's own willpower.
But that's miraculous, and yet you did it. I feel ever so much calmer now because you made me.
Good. And now, Guy, calmly tell me why you sent that urgent message to meet you here in Salisbury.
Victorine is dead.
Well, I know how you must feel, and of course I sympathize deeply, but her death, isn't it a blessing?
A blessing? She's dead. Victorine is dead.
And at last free of the hellish life Sir Giles Buckingham led her. Come now, Guy. Is that not something to thank God for?
Well, I suppose so.
Oh, my dear good friend. I know how much you loved her.
Loved her? She was my heart, my soul, my very life. A life that's ended for me when her family forced her to marry Sir Giles.
We've talked of it again and again, but now that she is dead, perhaps you can try to take up your life again.
I must see her, Gordon.
See her?
That's why I'm here. Why I asked you here. I must see her, Gordon. Gaze upon her lovely face once more.
But she's buried a week ago, you said.
In the family vault on the Buckingham estate. I want to go there tonight. Force entry into the vault. Open her coffin. And look at her once more. Just once more. I need you because I fear to go alone.
There is more to fear than that, Guy.
What do you mean?
A body dead and buried for a week in a damp and virtually airless vault. Guy, you'll not see Victorine as she was in life.
I shall see her.
Guy, this is mad. I beg you to...
I must! I don't care what she has become. I must see her once more. Must I do it alone? Will you help me?
If it is your wish, you wish it so strongly, then... Yes, I'll help you.
We must be careful not to be discovered, Gordon. This moonlight makes everything as clear as day.
There'll be no one about unless the estate is guarded at night against poachers.
Let's hope not. Wind creaking up. That should help a little. Cover any sound we make.
Yes.
Here's the gate to the estate.
Is it locked?
So find out. No. Come. There. So much for that.
Now, the location of the vault, do you know where it is?
Yes. That line of copper beeches on the hill. Do you see them?
Yes.
The vault lies just beyond. Come.
Wait.
That barking dog. If the place is guarded by a dog or even dogs...
Now, don't let your nerves get the best of you. Bad enough to face trouble when it comes, not before.
That dog. It's here on the grounds and closer. Gordon?
Steady, man, steady. Yes, it's on the grounds, all right, and coming this way. Let's step out into the open.
Into the open?
If the dog is coming this way, I want to meet it in full moonlight.
Why, Gordon? Why?
Because my only chance of subduing the beast, if it can be done, will be with my eyes. My voice, too, yes, but the eyes. There, I see it, coming over the hill against the moonlight.
Good Lord. Oh, my wondrous animal, Gordon.
There's a mastiff, and a big one. And he's caught our scent. Come on, step out into the moonlight. Quickly, or all is lost.
Yes. Gordon, I'm scared.
Stand still. Make no move. Leave this to me. All right, boy. Quiet down. Quiet down now. That's a good dog. That's it. We're not here to do you any harm, boy. We're friends. Your friends. Yes, that's right, boy. There's a good dog. A fine dog.
Unbelievable. You stopped him with your eyes. Held him to the one spot just by looking at him, and with your voice you soothed him. You calmed him. Took all the fight out of him.
Yes. And now, let's get on to the vault.
Here we are. The vault.
Locked?
Afraid so. I'll have to use the pry bar I brought.
Well, be as quiet as you can.
Yes. There. Gate's open. We can go in. Light the lantern, Gordon.
Guy, once more, I urge you not to go through with this.
I must. You know I must.
Now listen to me.
Light the lantern.
I'm lighting the lantern, but listen to me. You remember Victorine as she was, the lovely, innocent, gentle girl who was forced to marry Sir Giles 7 years ago. The torments he put her through, the daily torture of living with such a beast, these alone would have changed her face. But she's dead as well, and buried here a whole week. Guy, I beg you once again, remember her as she was, not as she must now be.
Shine the lantern about.
Very well.
Oh, dear heaven, there are at least a dozen coffins piled one on another. How can we tell which is Victorian?
Well, hers would be one of the topmost. Yes, and the velvet covering would be the newest. The brass studs still bright. Ah, that one up there, I think.
Let's get it down and see.
Just let me put the lantern over there. So, now then, I'll take the head of the coffin, you the other end. Can you reach it? Just, all right, pull then. Now, pull it to the edge. And when we get it to the edge, we can put our hands under it and let it down very gently.
Yes. Gordon.
I heard it.
What was it? It couldn't be. Can't be what I thought. A voice. And it comes from inside the coffin. Oh, dear heaven above. This is Victorine's. Gordon. She's alive. Alive.
Let's put it on the ground. On the ground. Easy now. Easy. The pry bar now. Pry off the lid.
Yes.
Well, hurry, man.
My nerves. I am trembling, no strings.
Give it to me. Now then.
Hurry. Hurry.
Well, I'm working as fast as I can. There.
The lantern. Quickly, the lantern.
Yes, yes.
Shine it into the coffin.
There.
Oh, look. Victorine alive. Alive.
Guy, it's you. It's you. Oh, God, thank you. Horrors I've been through.
All right, gently now, my dear, gently.
Gordon, Gordon.
Yes, my dear. Come on, Guy, lend a hand. Help me lift her out.
Oh, I can't believe
Oh, buried alive. Oh, my dearest, it must have been horrible for you.
I don't want to think about it. I can't tell you. To wake up, at first not knowing where you are, and everything black, pitch black, suffocating, scarce enough air to breathe.
Best not to think about it.
And then you move, and you feel the sides of the coffin, narrow, so narrow, and you reach up and you touch the lid, but the lid's only an inch or two from your face, and then suddenly, you know. Oh, heaven help me, you know. You scream with the terror of it. You scream and scream and scream.
Stop it at once.
Yes, Gordon.
You're alive, and that's all that matters.
Yes.
And thanks to what I called a mad impulse, you're safe.
Oh, yes. Oh, my darling, my dearest.
Sweetheart.
Listen to me, you two. Listen, we face a problem.
What problem?
Well, how are you going to take her back to Sir Giles? How explain all this? Sir Giles will have us arrested for breaking and entering.
She's not going back to Sir Giles. She's coming with me, away from this hellish place.
Oh, my darling.
You can't do that.
Oh.
She is his wife.
I'll die before I let Sir Giles get his hand on her.
A promise you may very well keep, my dear sir.
What?
It's Charles!
How did you...
The barking of my dog aroused me. I, in turn, roused my keepers, who are out and about scouring the woods. As it happens, I came this way, saw the light of your lantern flickering in the vault, and prepared to surprise what I thought to be grave robbers. Well, as it happens, I am the one surprised. Indeed, I'm shocked. I scarcely expected to find Victorine alive.
Yes, she's alive. And from here on, Sir Giles will live, I pray, a far happier life with me than ever she did with you. Move aside, sir.
I think not. If you're going anywhere, my friend, you and your accomplice, it's to jail. As for my wife, since she is returned to life, she will also return to me.
Oh, no!
You don't move, sir, I warn you. But if you do, it will give me extreme pleasure to blow your head off with this gun. Extreme pleasure.
I confess that at this point in Dr. Gordon Rainey's journal, I thought the tale over and done with. I was wrong, for really, it was only the beginning. I'll return shortly with Act 2. Well, as I said, I thought that Dr. Gordon Rainey's story had come to an end. He had gone with his friend, Guy Peterson, to the vault where the woman he loved lay dead in her coffin, only to find her alive. And then, as he planned to run away with her to save her from further torments at the hands of her husband, he was stopped by the appearance of that same husband, gun in hand, promising to have him and Dr. Rainey jailed.
Giles, I entreat you. Let them go. They've done no harm. On the contrary, if it hadn't been for Guy and Dr. Rainey, I'd even now be lying in my coffin, alive.
Would that you were. Damn you, woman, would that you were. Your unexpected return from the grave will lose me a fortune.
But how can my being alive cost you anything?
Lady Hastings is a widow. Lady Hastings has an income of $30,000 a year. I proposed marriage to her on Tuesday, and she accepted me.
You proposed marriage to another woman 3 days after your wife died?
Why not? I'm alive, very much alive, and to live one needs money. Why the look, Dr. Rainey?
You have more sense, it seems, than sensitivity, Sir Giles.
Insulting me will only worsen matters for you, Doctor, if that's possible. You can't be as unaware as you would like to seem that your career is ruined. A doctor, a physician, arrested for breaking and entering a mortuary, a sacred repository of the dead.
Sir Giles, you mustn't do this to Dr. Rainey. He helped me because he's my friend, a good and true friend. He was against it from the very start and would never have agreed to assist me had it not been for his deep and abiding sense of loyalty.
Oh, do stop, do, or you shall have me in tears.
Tears from a stone. A miracle.
So am I.
Oh.
Very well, then. Stone that will crush you, dear wife. Crush you until the death you've escaped will seem a paradise to you.
Put down that gun and
But I've no intention of putting down the gun. Certainly not until the bailiff arrives and takes you into custody, to jail, where I shall see to it you rot, the two of you.
What do you mean, rot?
I mean, quite simply, that once you're put in jail, you will never leave it. You will rot there, Doctor.
You make no sense, Sir Giles. The penalty for breaking and entering...
Penalties? Who speaks of penalty?
I do. There are laws in this nation.
But only one law here, me. I am the law in the village of Buckingham. I am Buckingham.
Oh, and he is.
No, Sir Giles. You will not imprison this man for the rest of his life, nor will you imprison me.
Oh? And may I ask why not?
Because I say so. Because I tell you so. No, don't look away. Look at me. Look into my eyes. Have the courage to look into them and tell me then. Will you imprison us?
Mesmerism.
Why, such is my intention, yes?
Is your intention, Sir Giles? Or was?
Well, it certainly was. I mean to say, the way you put it, most eloquently.
Good Lord. It's working. He's doing it again.
Doing what?
And you, being a man of sensitivity, my eloquence, the validity of what I say, has touched you. Is that not so? It is so, isn't it?
Yes. Seen in a different light, so to speak, yes, it would serve no purpose to put you in jail. None really.
And so you let us go? You will let us go?
Yes, go. Get out of my sight, the two of you, and never come back.
Let us leave, Guy. Victorine, under the law, there's nothing we can do. She is his wife.
I can't leave her.
You must. The bailiff will be here any moment, and I can't dominate Sir Giles' will with mine much longer.
Victorine.
Go, my darling.
What?
To leave you with him.
No, whatever happens to me will be harder to bear if you are in prison. Go, I entreat you. Go.
Second thought.
He's coming out of it. Guy, my friend, I've done all I can for you, and I'll not see my career ruined because you...
Because you're right. Goodbye, my darling, my dearest.
Goodbye.
Mesmerize me, Gordon. Do something. Do anything to relieve me of this torment.
You must control yourself.
I think of her, dream of her. She is never out of my thought, and always I am stricken with the thought that my very imaginings are as nothing to what he is really doing to her. The beatings, the starving of her, her very loneliness, the vile subjection to his passions. Oh, merciful heaven, I shall go out of my mind.
Yes, Guy, you shall. Unless you pull yourself together. Now, if you don't stop thinking of her, if you don't stop letting your fancy invent miseries she is very likely not suffering, you will go insane. You will.
Someone at the door. Who?
Were you expecting someone?
No one. Whom would I want to see?
I'll answer. Victorine!
Save me, Gordon, save me.
Good heavens. Come in, my dear. Guy, look, it's Victorine.
Victorine? Oh. It is. My dearest,
I could bear it no more. Oh, yes. Oh, hold me in your arms. Hold me.
Oh, Victorine.
He may kill me, but I'll never go back. Never. He never loved me. And now he hates me because I keep him from marrying Lady Hastings and her fortune and makes me pay. Oh, save me from him. Never let him take me back.
Gordon, she's fainting.
Here, Victorine, some brandy. Lie down on the couch.
There, my love. Lie back. Relax.
Let me take over, Guy. Go and bar the door, and bar it solidly. He must know she has fled, and to where she has fled, and he cannot risk her out of his sight because...
Because what? Damn it, what? Say it!
No. Let me say it for him. Because once again I am near death.
No.
Yes. Unless I can find rest. Unless I can feel myself safe from him. I shall die.
You will not.
I want to die.
Now stop talking, man, for once. Now bar that door.
Yes.
Too late.
No, I threw the bolt.
Not enough.
Open up, I say, or I'll have the door broken down.
Gordon, what shall I do?
Unless you want a smashed door with nothing gained. Open it.
Open, you hear? Open!
He'll take her back to Buckingham.
Yes, he will. She's his wife. There's nothing you can do.
Now, damn you all. At it again, are you? Stealing my wife? Taking what belongs to me? You men, take her.
No.
Over my dead body.
Take her.
No.
Enough. Stand back or I'll brain you with this candlestick. All right, then. You'll be next, my friend. If you don't...
Very well. Move back. You You're quite a hand with a candlestick, Dr. Rainey.
Yes.
You've laid my man out. I trust you know what this means for you.
Perhaps you should consider what it means for you, Sir Giles.
Me, sir?
Yes, you're not in Buckingham now. You're in London.
Seeking a wife who's run from her husband to a lover.
No, sir. A woman who has come to her doctor.
What?
What do you say? Your wife is dangerously ill. You have only to use your eyes to see that. I, being her friend, I am sure she sought me at my residence, and, not finding me there, came here.
Adroit? Most adroit, Dr. Rainey. May I ask, then, if you've prescribed for her illness?
Not as yet, Sir Giles.
But you will.
Yes.
Not good enough, Dr. Rainey. As her husband, or lawful husband, I intend to take her back with me to Buckingham. Victorine, my darling, come with me.
No.
Oh, really? Now you've no choice.
No.
Take your hands off her.
No.
Guy, you have no recourse. In the eyes of the law, she is his wife. He wants her, and you cannot keep her from him.
Sensibly said, Doctor. Here, dear wife, good wife, faithful and loyal wife, take my hand and let me help you from off that couch. Take my hand.
Vile. You are vile. Filthy. Foul. I shall never touch you again. I'd rather burn off my hands than touch you, you evil man. I'll die rather than go back with you. Die.
Damn you, come.
No. No. No.
Gordon. She is dead.
Oh, no.
Are you sure, Doctor? She was pronounced dead once before, you know.
There is no pulse. I can detect no vital signs. To all intents and purposes, she is dead.
You modern-day doctors, always escaping in words and phrases, to all intents and purposes, which is to say, you're not sure.
Who is sure of anything, Sir Giles? However, considering what has gone before, we will keep her here under observation for a few days.
You'll do nothing of the sort. You men, pick her up and bear her to my carriage.
No! Wait, what are you doing?
Possessing myself of my property, sir, whether it be alive or dead.
But you can't do this. You
Take
can't
her to my carriage.
Gordon!
There is nothing either of us can do. And Guy, she is dead. I'm virtually sure of that.
But if she is not...
Don't trouble yourself. Your own friend, the man you trust, Dr. Gordon Rainey, has pronounced her dead. All I intend to do is see that she is properly buried. This time, to stay properly buried.
Is she dead? You must understand, in those days, more than half a century ago, one was never sure. I'll return shortly for Act 3. Think for a moment how you would feel if you thought someone you loved might conceivably have been buried alive. And you will understand the feelings of young Guy Peterson. Think again how you would feel if you were a close friend of Guy's, a physician who risks his career every time he consents to help Guy spirit his beloved from her tomb. And you will then understand why Dr. Gordon Rainey wrote in his journal,
I feel if Guy is not mad, he is close to it. He has never been a robust man, but on the contrary, something of a neurotic. So it was that I refused, and again refused when he begged,
Help me. I beg you, Gordon, help me.
That is what I am trying to do, by refusing what you ask. We were caught in the act of entering the Buckingham vault the first time. We would surely be caught a second. There can be no doubt that Sir Giles is having the place guarded.
If there's a guard, we'll get past him somehow, or knock him unconscious, or yes, you could mesmerize him as you did that dog and Sir Giles.
Guy, my dear, good friend, listen to me. First, Victorine is dead.
How can you say that? She suffers, she must suffer from some sort of malady that makes her only appear to be dead. There are such maladies.
Yes, everything you say is true, but...
You admit she could yet be alive. Buried alive in that tomb even now.
Stop that. Stop it. The second thing I was going to point out is that mesmerism doesn't always work. Some people, the kind of peasant type who'd likely be guarding the vault, cannot be brought under the hypnotic influence.
Yes, but...
And a third thing is this. I am a doctor. If I get caught again, Sir Giles could end my career, and all I have tried to be, all the good I can accomplish in this world, would be set at naught. I'm sorry, Guy. I cannot risk it again.
Then I must do it alone.
You will not do it alone.
You cannot stop me. No one, nothing can stop me from rescuing Victorine from that vault.
Guy, you are mad. You are thinking irrationally, acting senselessly.
That's my concern, and certainly no longer yours.
Oh, Guy.
Leave me, Gordon. I must prepare for the journey to Salisbury. Well, leave, I said.
No. I'll go with you.
You've changed your mind?
I have not. But this is a mad business, and I'm a fool to help you, but I am also your friend.
Gordon?
Yes.
The vault is guarded.
Yes. I see the man. A big brute he is.
Do you think you can mesmerize him? Bring him under, what did you call it?
Hypnotic influence? I doubt it. He's the type I told you about. All muscle and little brain. It's a dark night to make things worse. You wouldn't be able to see my eyes clearly.
Do you dare try?
Well, I have no choice. But keep this in mind, Guy.
Yes?
If I fail, as I most certainly shall, run for it. Do you understand? Don't try to fight him. Run.
Yes, whatever you say.
All right, now then. Let's step out of these bushes and walk toward him. Say and do nothing. Leave things to me. Come.
Who's there?
Oh, don't shoot, friend.
Then stand where you be. Let me have a look at you.
Of course. We mean no harm, friend. We are simply two gentlemen who got lost in these woods, and so...
How come you're lost? This here is Buckingham Manor, and it's surrounded, all of it, with an iron fence.
Yes.
How come you got in?
Well, we really don't know. It's a dark night, and our eyes couldn't see much.
A likely story.
You must believe me. My sight is very poor as it is. Very poor. Look for yourself. Look into my eyes and see for yourself.
Yeah, now, what is this? Look into your eyes? It's up to the manor house with you two. With your answer to Sir Giles for trespassing on his...
Guy,
That takes care of him.
you stabbed him.
You couldn't control him.
I said to run if I couldn't, but... Oh, Guy, I think you've killed him.
Quickly, into the vault.
Wait. What's happened to you? Don't you realize that you've just murdered a man and that... Oh, you've gone mad. You have gone mad.
I am as sane as you. But mad or sane, I must get Victorine out of that vault. Now, come.
All right, but heaven help me, what have I got myself into now?
Tripod. Where is it?
Where? Well, you had it.
Oh, yes. I must hurry. She's alive in there. Her coffin alive. I must... There. Come along, Gordon. Come along.
All right.
There. There's a coffin.
Yes.
Look fast. Get the lid off.
Insane. He's gone insane.
Victorine? Can you hear me? Are you alive, my dearest? Perhaps fainted. Huh, Gordon? That's possible, isn't it? Alive, but in a faint?
Oh, Guy, my poor dear friend.
There. The lid's off, and she...
Dead. As I told you, dead.
Oh, we can't be sure. You know we can't be sure.
Guy, in the name of reason...
Help me get her out of the coffin.
To what purpose?
We'll take her back with us to London and...
Take her back where?
To my place.
The first place Sir Giles will come to.
Then to yours.
Mine? Do you realize what you're asking of me?
If you're the friend you claim to be...
But what you ask is impossible. You've already made me your unwitting accomplice to murder, and now... Guy, you are out of your mind.
And you, Gordon, are no friend.
Guy,
Guy, I beg you, leave her where she is. She's dead. Leave her at peace. She is not dead, and I am taking her back to London.
If whoever may read these pages of my journal thinks me a fool, I could not agree more. But Guy was my closest friend, and what's more, was clearly deranged by the love he bore Victorine, and his horror of letting her be buried alive. So we took her body to my rooms in London. 3 days she lay on the couch in my sitting room, Guy never leaving her side night or day. But on the 3rd day I knew something must be done to end this madness of his.
Look at her. There's no sign, not one, of decomposition.
Yes, because it is the middle of winter and we've kept the windows open and no fire in the fireplace. The sitting room of mine is a virtual ice house.
I know.
Now listen to me. What you persist in doing is not only lunacy, it is sacrilege. The dead deserve decent burial. If you love Victorine, as you say you do, let us bury her, Guy. Bury her tonight.
Where?
Then you will.
Yes. Where can we take her?
Well, I've thought of that and prepared for it. A grave awaits her body in St. Pancras Cemetery. All is arranged. We can take her now under cover of night.
Then let us do it.
Good, good. Now, I've kept my carriage waiting below. Do you want to carry her, or shall I?
Let me. It will be the last time I hold it in my arms.
All right. Pick her up, Guy.
Yes. Gordon?
Oh.
Gordon, what was that?
It's nothing. Come on, let's go downstairs.
But she gave a sigh when I picked her up.
Guy.
You heard? Gordon, you heard?
Good Lord, I did. Here, move aside.
She's alive. I knew it. Alive.
Quiet, man. In heaven's name, be quiet. Victorine. Victorine, do you hear me?
Yeah.
I have taken your hand in mine. Do you feel it?
No.
Can you open your eyes? If you can, open them.
She has. Gordon, she's gazing at me.
Victorine, do you see Guy?
Yes. Farewell, my darling. Farewell.
Farewell?
I am near death.
No.
Only a spark of life remains.
No.
Oh.
No, she must not die. Gordon, stop her.
What are you saying?
Mesmerism. The hypnotic influence. Use it.
Are you mad? Use it? How?
Command her not to die. Command her to live.
Command her to live? Command what to live when there was scarce a breath of life in her? Her mind, her spirit, what? But I did it. May God, in his infinite mercy, forgive me. I did it. Using the powers of mesmerism, I held her eyes with mine and commanded her, forced her to live. Even though over and over she cried out,
I am dead. Let me go. I'm dead.
but I did not let her go, could not let her go, because, yes, I confess it, because the experiment fascinated me. I, Dr. Gordon Rainey, committed for over 5 long weeks, committed the sin, the crime, the sacrilege of holding the spirit within a dead body to this earth, even though it pleaded, entreated, begged.
Release me. Oh, release me.
In a short time, yes. But tell me first, what are you? Spirit? Soul? Mind? What?
I am dead. Dead. Dead.
What's that? Someone at the door. I'll answer. You!
Found you at last, eh, you damn grave robber?
Sir Giles.
Yes, and you, Dr. Rainey, who so help me, will no longer be called doctor when I'm through with you.
No, Giles, no.
Oh, what's this? She lives?
No, Sir Giles.
But she speaks. I heard her speak. Here, let me see for myself.
Stay away from her. Don't you touch her.
Get out of my way, you.
Don't touch her, I said. Don't touch her. Oh.
You shot him.
You killed Guy.
Before he stabbed me to death, as he stabbed my servant. Self-defense, sir. And now enough of this. I came for my wife's body, but it appears I shall be taking your wife back to Buckingham Manor with me. Rouse her. Rouse her at once.
I cannot, Sir Giles. She is dead. Has been dead for more than 6 weeks.
I heard her speak.
Yes. But it was her soul. Her spirit. I don't know what. But not her body. Her body is dead.
Yes, dead. I beg you don't hold me any longer. Guy is here. Let me go to him. I say to you that I am dead. Let me go.
She comes with me.
No. She goes where she should have gone long since now, had it not been for me. Victorine, I release you. Go. And in the sanctity of death, join the lover you never had in life.
What's happening? Her body. Her body is disintegrating. Before my eyes. Rotting. Moldering. Horrible. Horrible!
Horrible indeed it was. For, using Edgar Allan Poe's own words, upon the couch there now lay not the body of Victorine, but a nearly liquid mass of loathsome, detestable putrescence. Mr. Poe's words, mind. When he set out to horrify you, he horrified you. I'll be back shortly. The Premature Burial is only one of a number of stories by the master Edgar Allan Poe I've had the pleasure of bringing you. We now owe, and generations to come will owe, so much to his imagination, his vibrant fancy, that it might be nice to think of him now and then, let his name pass through your thoughts as it does through mine, and to wish him well, wherever he may be. Our cast included Keir Delay, Paul Hecht, Guy Sorel, and Marion Seldes. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. And now, a preview of our next tale.
What is her condition? Well, it's not fatal, thank God. Not even very serious. Badly bruised, cut over her right eye, but she's going to be all right. The monster failed to make good his threat to kill her.
We may indeed thank God for that.
Yes. Well, at least we know more than we did before, Monsieur Dupin. We know that the murderer is a big man, a huge man of unbelievable strength, and that he has black hair.
We know a great deal more than that, Pierre.
We do?
Well, I do, and so do you. Only, as I've said before, you don't know you know.
Oh, Monsieur. Monsieur, I do not have your brilliant brain. Well, it doesn't matter. All that matters is that you can solve this awful mystery, that you can save Yvette. The murderer failed this time, but he'll try again.
Radio Mystery Theater was sponsored in part by Sign-Off, the Sinus Medicines, and Buick Motor Division. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre.
Suspense. And the producer of radio's outstanding theater of thrills, the master of mystery and adventure, William N. Robeson.
In a niche all his own, apart from other great tellers of tales of terror, stands the moody, dark, and devious genius, Edgar Allan Poe. Obscure and ambiguous, the rolling periods of his prose are not for the casual reader, no more than for the casual listener. But for sheer suspense compounded of horror piled upon horror, literature offers nothing more awful than the pit and the pendulum. The terror of the Black Pit would have sufficed a lesser imagination, but to this, the macabre intellect of Poe added the inescapable doom of the razor-sharp pendulum, and then piled on the rats and the moving walls of red-hot iron until the edge of the unbearable is reached. Can you take it? Can you listen through the next half hour? Try. Try to listen to Mr. Vincent Price, starring in The Pit and the Pendulum, which begins in exactly 1 minute.
This is Bob Wright with the answer to the greatest challenge in cigarette history. The challenge was,
can a cigarette be made that will give decidedly better filtration and also give easy draw with full, natural tobacco flavor?
The answer is Kent. Kent with a revolutionary new micronite filter that gives Kent decidedly better filtration, definitely less tars and nicotine than any other leading filter brand.
Kent, filters, best.
The answer is Kent, with the full, rich flavor of the world's premium quality natural tobaccos and an easy draw. Yes, of all leading filter brands, Kent filters best.
Kent, filters, best.
Tomorrow, pick up a pack of Kents with a revolutionary new micronite filter and enjoy the most important advance in the progress of filter smoking.
Kent, filters, best.
And now, Mr. Vincent Price stars in Edgar Allan Poe's immortal story of punishment by terror, The Pit and the Pendulum. A tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
I was sick unto death with that long agony, and when at length they unbound me and I was permitted to sit, I felt that my senses were leaving me. The sound of the inquisitorial voices seemed merged in one dreamy, indeterminate hum, from which emerged the syllables of my name.
Captain Jean d'Albret.
Good fathers, gentlemen.
We hear you, my son.
Even now I have no knowledge of where I am or to whom I may be speaking.
You're speaking to me, my son. I am Fra Pedro d'Espia, prior of the Dominicans of Segovia, and Grand Inquisitor for all Spain.
This, then, is the court of the Inquisition?
It is.
But I am a French officer.
That is true. A soldier and creature of the arch-fiend, the Antichrist, Napoleon Bonaparte, who even now is at the gates of Madrid, while his general La Salle menaces our city of Toledo itself.
Nonetheless, I am a prisoner of war. By what right do you try me in this court?
Let the clerk read the charges against the prisoner.
Item, that on the 4th day of September, in the year of our Lord, 1808, the said Captain Jean d'Albret did wed and espouse that most noble lady, the Doña Beatriz Valdez, niece and ward of the illustrious...
One moment.
Excellency?
This marriage was a deplorable thing, if you like, but lawful marriage, however regrettable in a case like this, is no sin nor crime.
There are other matters in the indictment.
Then continue, but give us nothing that is not material.
Item, that on the 12th of October, 1808, the said Jean d'Albret, being in command of a battery of light artillery, did direct the fire of his guns against the holy church of Santa Marta the Innocent, and thereby, of his wicked malice, destroyed that church utterly.
Captain d'Albret, is this charge true?
Yes.
You admit it.
Good father, the church blew up, did it not?
Would you boast of your sin, young man?
It blew up because it was stored with kegs of gunpowder for your army. I had every right to fire on it.
And that is all the defense you have to make?
I tell you, I had every right to fire on it by military law.
Is military law above God's law?
I don't know. I did my duty. Long live the Emperor!
Captain d'Albret, mark what I say. No man, however great his heresy, is condemned to be burnt in the fire if he first recant and acknowledge the error of his ways. Do you so?
I cannot. I was under orders. I obeyed them.
Then, Jean d'Albret, there can be no mercy, no pity, since there is no atonement. The sentence of this court, therefore, is...
I had swooned in terror. Yet I will not say that all of consciousness was lost. In the deepest slumber, no. In delirium, no. In a swoon, no. In death, no. Even in the grave, all is not lost. Else there is no immortality for man.
In a moment, we continue with the second act of Suspense. But first, some big news.
The bold new Pontiac, the bold new Pontiac, the bold new Pontiac is here.
With a Pontiac front seat that lets you in the back seat.
Pontiac automatically moves up then back just like that. Pontiac automatically. A portable radio that pulls right out and plays all alone. When you plug it back in, it's a car radio, high fidelity too.
What a nice tone.
Set your speed on the new speedometer, Pontiac automatically.
If you go too fast, a buzzer goes buzz,
Pontiac automatically. More good reasons you love the bold new Pontiac. Pontiac automatically.
The bold new Pontiac is here.
And now, Mr. Vincent Price in The Pit and the Pendulum by Edgar Allan Poe. A tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
No, even in the grave all is not lost. There were shadows of memory which told me indistinctly of tall figures that lifted me and bore me in silence down, down, still down, until a hideous dizziness oppressed me at that descent into the earth. There was a vague horror at my heart because of that heart's unnatural stillness. Then, as consciousness swam back to my wits again, darkness. A damp stone floor in darkness. Oh, Beatrice. Oh, my wife.
Did you call me, Jean?
Beatrice. You? Here? In the dungeons of the Inquisition?
No, my poor Jean. I am only here in your imagination.
Am I mad, then?
No, but your brain is fevered. You only think you hear me.
I hear you clearly. You won't leave me.
As long as I am in your heart, I shall be here. Have they chained you to the wall?
No. No, they've taken away my uniform. They've given me sandals and a robe of rough cloth. But I'm unchained. Beatrice, suppose they have buried me alive.
Have courage, Jean. You must have courage.
Then tell me where you are now, Beatrice, in the flesh, I mean.
In the old house by the olive grove, scorned of my people.
Yes, I know.
Each morning I climb to the hilltop and watch for them.
Yes.
Sometimes I think I hear gun wheels rumble in the hills and long moving columns with the red dust rising above them.
Go on.
First come the heavy cavalry in plume-crested helmets, on their flanks wheeling like hawks, light hussars in blue and scarlet, and behind them in a glitter of bayonets as vast as light points on the sea, rank upon rank, the long gray coats and tall bearskin caps.
The old guard and the Grand Army.
It's only a vision, my dear one. They do not come.
Will they ever come, Beatrice?
I cannot tell.
Then I must face what has been prepared for me.
Can you stand up, Jean?
I think so.
Then walk.
Yes.
Walk as far as you can. Measure the limits of the cell if this is not a tomb.
I'll try, Beatrice. I'll try. This robe impedes me, and the floor is treacherous with slime, but I'll try.
Look out! Jean!
Oh, I'm all right. I fell on my face. The robe tripped me.
What, Jean?
But my hand is in front of me, lower than my face, but I feel nothing.
Nothing, Jean.
It's a pit. A deep circular pit, and I fell on the very edge of it.
They would have had you walk into it.
Yes.
But you didn't. You're saved, Jean.
Saved, Beatrice. Saved. My torture has been merely postponed. At last, a deep sleep fell upon me, a sleep like that of death. How long it lasted, I know not. But when I opened my eyes once again, I could see. Yes, see. My prison was large and lofty, its walls formed of massive iron plates. A wild, sulphurous luster, I could not trace its origin, lit up the dungeon and the circular pit. I could see, but I could not move. I lay on my back on a low framework of wood, securely bound by a long fastening resembling a surgical bandage. The bandage passed round and round my body, leaving at liberty only my head and my left arm. With much exertion, I could supply myself with food from an earthen dish on the floor beside me. It was meat, highly seasoned, and there was no water. Beatrice, where are you?
I am here, Jean.
Your voice sounds stronger, and I can see you.
You are weaker, my dear, and more fevered.
Look, Beatrice.
Where?
At the ceiling of this room, 30, 40 feet up. What do you see?
I see, painted on the ceiling, a figure of Father Time.
Yes, but this Father Time carries no scythe. He carries instead what looks like a gigantic pendulum from an ancient clock. And the pendulum is moving.
A painting cannot move.
But I swear the pendulum did. It swung a little back and forth, just like a real pendulum. Beatrice, take care!
Take care of what?
Take care of the rats from the pit. They're swarming out in dozens. You can see their eyes glitter. What do they want? What do they want?
They have caught the scent of the meat in the dish beside you.
They'll not get it. Go! Go away, you vermin!
Au revoir, Jean. Au revoir.
Beatrice, where are you going? I can hardly hear you.
You are sending me away, Jean.
I'm sending you away.
My poor loved one. You can't bear to see the rats running about my feet, can you? Even when you know I'm not here.
Beatrice.
It is true, Jean. You are sending me away.
Yes, it's true. In a cell swarming with vermin, there are others I would rather see here. I would rather see.
If you call me Captain d'Albret, then in spirit I am here.
Go. I command you, Fra Antonio, go!
Not until I have first told you what is in store for you.
Which is?
Listen. Do you hear anything?
Yes, I hear something.
Turn your eyes upward. Look at the ceiling.
The pendulum.
Aye, the pendulum.
It is descended.
Only a foot or so as yet. As you notice, it is not really a pendulum.
No?
No. Its underside is a crescent formed of razor-sharp steel.
You mean?
A ponderous weight, Captain d'Albret. Its movement is slow now, but soon it will take on momentum. It will swing wider and wider, and with each broad movement, it will creep a trifle lower.
The steel is directly over me.
Yes, above the region of your heart.
How long before?
You need have no immediate fear. It will not be too soon.
But how soon?
Who can tell?
Minutes, hours, days. Who can say how long it was? It might have been many days before that hideous blade swept so closely as to fan me with its acrid breath. Down. Still unceasingly, still inevitably down. The sharp steel flashed past within 3 inches of my chest. And then Only then. Beatrice. Beatrice.
I hear you calling, Jean. I am here.
Oh, Beatrice.
Is there no hope, my dear?
How can there be? 10, 12 more vibrations, and it will fray the threads of my robe, only lightly as a razor in a delicate hand. There will be many sweeps down before it bites deep. I can't escape it, and yet, if only I could use my wits.
You kept me away from you, Jean. You locked me out of your thoughts. If I am here only in your thoughts, why should I fear the rat?
The rats? The rats? Do they still swarm here?
Across the floor and over the meat platter. Yes. They have taken nearly all your food.
Yes, they are ravenous. They have sharp teeth. The meat is oily and spiced. If I take what remains of it, scatter, you vermin! Rub that meat on the bandages that hold me here.
Try it, Jean, try.
It may be too late. If I move my body of a fraction of an inch up,
Try it, I tell you, try.
Can I stand those rats crawling across me? Can the flesh bear it?
Oh, one of them has leaped on the wooden framework. Another follows. They are gnawing at the bandage.
7, 8 more sweeps of the pendulum.
Does the bandage give way? Lie still, Jean, lie still.
10, a dozen rats now. Is death, I wonder, worse than this disgust?
A dozen sharp knives could do no better. The bandage has loosened to ribbons. If you move sideways, carefully, and drop to the floor.
Beatrice, I can't move. My arms and legs are numb. There is no
The
power
steel
to...
has frayed your robe. A minute more will be too late. Try.
Then with all the strength that is in me and the hatred I bear my enemies...
You're free.
Yes, a second time I'm free.
See, Jean. The pendulum stops. They are drawing it back up through the roof.
Each move I make is watched. You never doubted that?
No. Yet with all they could do to you, they have failed twice.
They will not fail a third time, my dear. Listen.
What do you hear?
A groaning. A grinding as of metal.
It is only the cogwheels of the pendulum.
I think not, Beatrice.
Why not?
It seems to come from behind these iron-plated walls. It seems to shake the dungeon as a mill wheel might shake at it.
Stand up, my poor Jean. Get up off your knees.
I can't endure any more. Don't you sense even now the odor of the heated iron?
Heated iron?
Yes, the walls are beginning to glow red. Oh, Beatrice, I have been much humbled. But I won't have you see me in tears. I order you to go.
Jean, in the name of
Yes,
heaven.
in the name of heaven, go.
In just a moment, we continue with the third act of Suspense.
More families, far more families, use X-Lax than any other laxative. X-Lax is the preferred laxative for one important reason. X-Lax helps you toward your normal regularity, gently, overnight. Today, many doctors recommend trusted X-Lax for youngsters as well as grown-ups.
That's because X-Lax gives you the relief you want, the gentle way that nature wants, without upset. When you take chocolated X-Lax at night, it does not disturb your sleep. And X-Lax is so effective that the next morning you'll be well on your way toward your normal regularity. Seldom, if ever, will you need X-Lax the next day.
Little wonder that of all the laxatives made today, tablet, powder, or liquid, X-Lax is the most popular. Next time, any time that you or any member of your family needs a laxative, make that laxative pleasant-tasting chocolated X-Lax. Introductory size, only 15 cents.
And now, Act 3 of The Pit and the Pendulum, starring Mr. Vincent Price. A tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
Suffocating heat pervaded the prison. I could draw no breath of air into my lungs. Against the lume of that fiery destruction, the thought of the pit and its coolness came like balm.
Does the pit please you, Captain Dalbray?
You again?
Do you find its contents pleasing?
Not the pit.
And how shall you avoid it? Look!
This dungeon has changed its shape.
That is true. The walls are closing in. It was formerly a square, and now
it is flattening slowly towards the center to force me into the pit.
Of course.
It will force you along with me.
Again, apparently, you must be told, Captain Dalbray, that you are speaking only to your own sick fancy. I am not here at all. Farewell.
Now flatter and flatter grew the red-hot walls. I shrank back, but the closing walls pressed me relentlessly onward toward the loathsome pit. At length, for my seared and writhing body, there was no longer an inch of foothold. I screamed once. I tottered on the edge of the pit. I averted my eyes. Then there was a discordant hum of human voices, and then a loud blast of many trumpets. The fiery walls rushed back. An outstretched arm caught my own as I fell fainting into the abyss. It was that of General LaSalle. The French army had entered Toledo. The Spanish Inquisition was in the hands of its enemy.
Suspense, in which Mr. Vincent Price starred in William N. Robeson's production of The Pit and the Pendulum by Edgar Allan Poe, adapted for suspense by John Dixon Carr. In a moment, the names of tonight's supporting players and a word about next week's story of Suspense.
Here's good news for everyone who appreciates fine music. Heinz Soups offer you the LP Record Bargain of the Year. The best of 57 in classical music by famous RCA Victor. It's a genuine Red Seal LP of $3.98 quality. Yet it costs you just $1 in cash and 4 labels from any of Heinz condensed soups. That's right, just a $1 bill and 4 Heinz soup labels. Think of it, 43 minutes of the world's great music. Highlights from 8 RCA Victor albums, performed by famous orchestras directed by Morton Gould, Arthur Fiedler, Fritz Reiner, and others. Here's the only way you can get this wonderful 12-inch record. Send a $1 bill and 4 Heinz soup labels to Best of 57, Box 57, Rockaway, New Jersey. I repeat, Best of 57, Box 57, Rockaway, New Jersey. Send for yours right away.
Supporting Mr. Price in The Pit and the Pendulum were Ellen Morgan, Jay Novello, Ben Wright, and John Hoyt. Listen. Listen again next week when we return with another tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
America listens most to the CBS Radio Network.